weather, how the weather is in Philly, I appreciate it just having to be able to do some things around the house and stay in, you know?
Yeah, for
But I
sure.
love fall, so I'm excited that it's approaching very quickly.
Yeah. Something else approaching very quickly, ain't it?
What would that be?
What would that be?
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. I know that's right. And you planning something big, and you doing that. I'm sure you keeping those reins tight.
Oh, yeah,
What's going on
everybody
with
keep
that?
reaching out, asking what they can do, how can they help. I'm planning a wedding, y'all.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be fun, they say.
I've never heard I say planning the wedding was fun. It's the what be fun.
The actual wedding, right?
Yeah.
So my whole, but see that part right there, my whole process in this plan is making sure that day is fun.
Oh yeah.
So I got a lot done. The last piece is when you start to incorporate people, which is a piece that I'm not really looking forward to.
Okay.
But this
Are you a
has been-
delegator? Have you delegated responsibilities?
I haven't delegated anything. I've just been like making sure I have everything I want the way I want it. Then once I figure out everything I want, then I can say, okay, here. Otherwise, you get all the commentary of what you should be doing and shouldn't be doing, and that's the part I don't feel like. What I didn't realize though is a lot of people start to invite themselves and
Oh, yeah.
include
Oh, yeah.
themselves, and I wasn't.
Wasn't ready.
I wasn't ready for that. I didn't know that.
The
That's
cousin
what
you
happens.
haven't talked to in 10 years expects to be there.
Oh
The
yeah.
friend who you didn't realize you were friends or best friends with expects to be there.
How
Absolutely.
expects to be there. I had a
They want the
childhood
food.
friend that I haven't seen in years. Assume that she's in the wedding.
That's taking it too far. Invite is one thing. Thinking you're in my bridal party or
Bridesmaid, huh?
that's a different thing.
She was like, "Oh yeah, I know I'm in it," and I was like, "Oh,
Okay. This make fun. Okay.
you know, like that sort of stuff." And I even had like other folks actually offer me money. Oh, I know it's expensive. I'll pay for my. I was like, this is not.
I'll pay for my plate. Yeah.
It's like this is not an event where you can just buy a ticket. Like, I don't know what people think this is, but it's getting out of hand.
Yeah, they've been waiting for it.
They have. I want people to stop talking about it.
No doubt. No, that's funny. No doubt. Well, as long as you're around, as long as you finally tie in a knot. I know everybody been waiting for it for a long time, so you're gonna have a lot of people just anticipating and want to be a part of that milestone in your life. You know what I mean?
I appreciate the love
Yeah,
and the
for sure.
excitement. I just, just wait for me to ask you.
And you don't need
I
that.
haven't texted you to confirm your address. Chances are.
Yeah, they like, I don't care what you did. I already know I'm gonna be a part of that. So you can say what you want to say, but I'm here. I'm in the building.
I was venting to a friend and who actually told me, she said, man, you're going to get a lot of that. She said, I actually had a ton of people who we didn't invite who showed up anyway.
Oh.
And I was like, well, what? So I started asking her about seating. So she said, no, they never came in. They were just hanging outside the venue like it was a let out.
Oh, that's
I was
weird.
like, what?
They like, yeah.
No, that's
I
different.
know.
That's weird.
Don't do that.
Is there anybody you want to clear the air with before? Is there anyone that feels the need that these two couples shouldn't be married? Speak up now or forever hold your peace. Somebody like, hold up. That's somebody I wasn't invited. That type of thing. You good?
People, I'm good.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what
good.
That's my closest friends. The bridesmaids.
Yeah.
They got that on lock.
They got
Yeah,
that.
they supposed to be back like that.
Yeah, no doubt.
They make sure certain people don't
You better not come in this door. No doubt.
know the date or location
Yeah.
or even what's happening.
Yeah, no doubt. My God, D, holla at me. How was your day, my brother?
Busy day for me. My oldest daughter turns 12 tomorrow, so
Oh yeah.
eat out all day. Spend all this money for food I could cook myself. But as
Not
long
the
as
same.
she's happy, it's not the same. And as long as she's happy and she got to pick and get what she wanted. And what I usually do is you get to choose if you want a gift, an experience, or a party. And so she went for gifts this year.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. So she got a bunch of nonsense. It's all nonsense to me, but
I like
that's
that.
what she wants.
Yeah.
A gift.
That's
or
what you get for
experience.
being the firstborn girl,
That's
daddy's
baby
girl.
Yeah, daddy's little girl.
be with your dad for. She was with me for 2 years as a single dad, so the connection and the bond is
Yeah.
very strong.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. You
How
know,
about
it's
you?
interesting that you said that, and that's something that we essentially can talk about in a little bit. But are people doing way too much with parties? You know, when it comes to someone's like either sweet 16, somebody's 18-year-old 18th birthday party, are they doing too much? These prom send-offs, are they doing too much? I seen what's the thing that they do? The
Gender reveals?
yeah, gender reveals.
yeah.
Those always
You know,
kinda,
are they doing too much? I mean, what's your thoughts? I mean, you know, you planning something right now, my brother. So what's your take on that? Because I like the idea of you saying like you get a chance to pick.
Yeah, because for me, it's what's your return on investment? If you want a bunch of gifts, then you got plenty of grandparents, aunts, uncles. You'll get the gifts. But ultimately, I know with my kids, whatever gift you get, you're done with in a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
If it lasts weeks. So luckily, not luckily, but this year she's choosing more apparel so that can last. But I go for more experiences because that's what you can retain. You live with that. You talk about that. We have something to always remember each other by and things we did together. And otherwise, I just think it's a waste. What do you get? We've never actually done a party. We convinced our kids never to pick the party because it's more for your friends than it is for you, I think.
Yeah. how
And then I'm
about
putting
that?
out all this money and what I'm not sure what you get in return, except for some gifts again that you're not really gonna use for any significant amount of time.
Right, right.
And we just had a few hours at this place that charged me for again things I could have cooked myself, pizza I could have ordered from a better place that would taste much better. It's just I don't really like the parties. Gender reveals never made sense to me. I mean I don't even really get that, especially the ones where they do the balls that pop in the color. I don't like mess, so that doesn't work for me. It's just none of that stuff. I mean, you're doing it for. I don't think you're actually doing these things for yourself. Is I guess my overarching point. So if we're not doing it for ourselves, like experience we do for ourselves, everything else you're doing for the people around you. So
Everything you just said is exactly everything I said about the wedding.
yeah. Because the wedding should be for you, but ultimately,
Right.
as you're building it, you're like, really, I'm creating experiences for everybody else to feed into my experience, hopefully.
Right.
Interesting. So, so that said, what's the, you know, is it something that people are posturing, or do you think it's like a status thing to throw these big elaborate things, these celebrations based around that?
I
Or do you
think
feel
some are
like
cultural,
Yeah.
and then others are for the gram.
Yeah, there you go.
Because with some of these prom send-offs,
It's crazy.
I see you. I don't know intimately your income, but I got a pretty good idea of your income and your expenses and how you live on a day-to-day basis. You just dropped several $1,000s on a prom.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't. That math's not mathing. I just don't see how that makes sense. I would like to go over your budget with you. It just does not make sense. I'm not taking a loan out for my child's prom.
The crazy thing is the money that's spent on the prom send off. A bulk of
Exactly.
it is on the send off.
That's what I'm
had
saying. It's
nothing
the
to do
send-off.
with the wardrobe, what they wore,
Yeah.
or the vehicle that
It's
they
just
got
the
there in.
send-off, yeah.
It was all the hoopla around it.
Yeah.
Hair, nails, accessories, shoes, $1,500. You spending $2,000, $300 on the send off to create this. You got banners, sparklers, fireworks. This is like I don't see
And
I'm sorry, but have you seen some of the houses? What the houses look like?
Yeah,
All this
it's
stuff is
like-
outside of.
all this
I was like,
elaborate
you could have
decoration.
spent that money on a new door, bro.
I actually think you
My point.
yeah.
Paint your house. How about that? Put that somewhere else.
I actually think you undershooting because when you
Probably.
because I mean you're literally we forgot about the rental.
Yeah.
We forgot about the rental, right? I'm seeing people with a stage. I'm the elaborate balloons. That's about a stack alone, right?
balloon archway.
The balloon archway. The jeez. I mean, I have seen some dynamics. I mean, they look great, you know. And if you can afford it, okay, that's what's up. Me, I don't think I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it.
I think back to when I went on the prom, and it was like,
Yeah, my Jones, shit.
I remember a ton of people being at the house, right? Family and friends, they all wanted to come see me leave. But I remember my mom having like a nice, she did like a spread, like charcuterie boards and
Exactly.
beverages.
I mean, that's what mine was just people. It
Yeah,
wasn't
that was it.
all this money. We did pay for the rental. I got my suit. That's where the money went. Sending me out the house.
Yeah, sending you out
that
the
had
house.
nothing. There was no real money put into that, and I don't think there should have been.
You need $5,000 though to send you out the house now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always going to be: does the money? Do I feel a week later like I spent the money and it was in a good way? Like, could I still feel comfortable having spent that money? If it's a week past and I don't feel comfortable, then it was a waste of money.
I think my issue with it is a lot of it is not even what the child wants. A lot of
sure.
it is what the parent is like. Oh, I'm sending my
Exactly.
kid off like this, because almost like they're in competition with somebody.
Because I don't know that a kid. So I work in the child welfare system, and the child welfare system actually, especially family court, forces, I shouldn't say forces, but will draft court orders that tell the social worker or our agency to pay for the hair and for everything else. I never had one of these kids who were financing their prom say they need this elaborate send-off. So I support what you're saying. It's probably the adults.
That's what I.
They doing it for them. They want to feel like they want to relive or whatever, or whatever they feel like they missed. But you didn't miss nothing. You went to the prom. That's where the fun is.
Yeah. No, that's real. You went to the So I mean, and then hold on, they still doing pictures, right? They still doing the
Yes.
pictures. That you gotta get that package.
You
Gotta get
the
that
package.
package.
Gotta get the package.
And then afterwards, most people go to like, I don't want to say the hotel, but they go to like the Great Adventure or something,
Yeah, they-
right?
Remember that? I don't know if they still do that.
Yeah, do they still do
They
that?
still do that?
They
Yeah,
still do
Next
that.
day
Yeah,
you go to
they-
Six Flags
yeah.
or Dorney
group.
Park or somewhere, and it's the whole group thing. And you can't just pay for the ticket. They gotta have money for food, money for whatever else. You can't send them there looking broke. So you're just spending more money, ultimately. And with this past generation and the generations now, then you're about to spend money on college. You got to have that trunk party. So think about what I just said. You just spent $5K on a send off, but you got to have a trunk party. So you need help getting your kid the thing they need for college, but you just dropped $5K to send them to prom. That's what I'm saying. The math's not making sense. That's what I'm saying. The money, it just doesn't make sense to me.
The math ain't mathing, huh?
It's not math to me.
Because the graduation to me is more important.
Yeah.
And
Graduate.
what I want to know is how many of them are actually walking.
Yeah. Hey, look, you know what? It's funny.
Walked up
That,
this prom, but
it's
did
funny
they
that
walk?
you said that. You know, it was a principal in, I want to say in Dallas, where she caught some flack because she was saying, if you are not graduating,
Yeah.
you can't go on a prom.
Yeah,
I agree.
I remember that.
You can't go on a prom. Huh?
You need to be focused somewhere else.
Yeah.
The prom should be more like a reward. This is the culmination. You're gonna have your graduation, and that's the larger culmination. But this is your social gathering with your peers that you spent 4 years with. Enjoy yourself because y'all about to move on to the next level or next stage of your life.
Damn, that's crazy. So dress
Graduate.
$1,200, $1,500. I remember back then it was like $500.
But do you see the dress?
Yeah.
The dresses are not appropriate.
Yeah, oh, we really
The
want to
dresses are
go
not
there.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Parents, adults, children, dresses are not
Yeah.
appropriate.
Yeah,
Because everybody is trying to mimic some model on the runway of the Oscars.
These young ladies are
Megan Thee
17 and
Stallion.
18 years old. 16 and 17 and
Yeah.
18. There's no reason the slit of her dress should come up to just below her cheek. There's no reason. There's no space for that. We're over sexualizing these girls. Give her a chance to be a girl, not necessarily force her to be a woman.
Can you tell he got a daughter?
Yeah, I got 3. So you see where my mind. I got 3 girls.
He in
They
his
will
head, he
not.
like,
They will not. They already get their cycles early. You know, the girls getting cycles at 8, 9, 10.
He's like, listen, this is what we're not gonna do.
You're not gonna make my baby girl a woman at 16.
Do you feel it? You feel a pain in his face, right? He thinking of his babies, man. That's funny.
That's why that hotel comment you made wasn't good.
He's like gritting his teeth, like Daddy gonna pick her up right at the prime.
Right. Then young man and I will have a pillow talk. That's what my dad called it, the pillow talk.
Pillow talk. Yeah, let me have a conversation with you. Click, click. Yeah, let me have a conversation. I don't think as much as I wanted a girl, right?
I respect it. My dad's still trying to have those conversations. Not my dad.
I'm a grown woman.
She'll be 30. You ain't married yet. We still having a pillow talk.
That's crazy. That's so funny, man. So it's about the baby girls. It's about the babies out there. We just want to protect them, all that good old stuff. Some will, some will argue that, it's us that's closed-minded, right? That we're not allowing for them to be expressive, and it should be okay for them to, wear whatever they want to wear because we shouldn't sexualize them, right? They are just expressing themselves by way of, clothes.
Yep.
So,
I hear that. And I accept that I am a hypocrite. I can say over here, free the nipples, and then over here tell my daughter, cover the nipples. I mean, I'm a hypocrite. I'll own it.
I gotta own it because I'm right with you. I'm right with you. We talk weekly after the talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, let's get into, since we got my guy here, we're going to talk a little bit about just some politics. We got Sherelle Parker and we got David O. And it's been getting a little heated. Sherelle been kind of quiet. David O like, nah, I'm not going to let you off the hook, right? And so when we come back, we want to just address that. We got a couple guests that's coming, and so I don't want you guys to go anywhere. We'll be right back after this show. Holla.
What's going on, you guys? This is Bridget Kelly, and you are locked into We Talk Weekly.
We Talk Weeklies after the talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Lady Esther.
And my guy,
Daryl Smith Jr.
While we're here and you're on here, my guy, Daryl Smith Jr., let's talk a little bit about your two favorite people for right now.
Mm-hmm.
We want to talk a little bit about Sherelle Parker and Mr. David O. We got a little bone to pick with Miss Sherelle Parker. We'll talk a little bit about that. Just by way of, I feel like she's ducking everybody. She's ducking everyone at this point. But let's jump into it. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I haven't seen Sherelle Parker doing a lot of interviews, but I will say she has shown up in smaller venues and done conversations. Mm-hmm. I actually was at one maybe 2 months ago. And she'll ask your questions. I do like that she's honest enough to say what she does not know, because I definitely asked her complicated questions that she was able to speak to, but also acknowledge that she didn't have enough information. So I'll give her kudos for that. Okay. David O knows he has to be in front. See, for Sherelle Parker, she's kind of in a similar situation as Donald Trump is right now. You're already leading. You don't really need to say anything. You could actually do more damage talking than being quiet. David O has to be loud. He needs to be in front. He needs to keep his face in a space where he is recognizable and you know his name, because so much of it is name recognition. And so he's really got to keep putting himself out there, where Sherelle Parker can honestly, if she wanted to, could probably coast for this next month or two and be fine.
Yeah, I was a little upset with her not getting back to the very same people who supported her, right? And when we go to independent media, local media like ourselves, we have reached out. I mean, we're, being transparent, we have reached out to Sherelle Parker, and, to a degree, she's been ducking us. We didn't understand until that article came out where it was put out there that, by accident, her people kind of fumbled the ball, and it kind of came out that she was kind of like, putting people on hold, shoveling people off. But we'll talk a little bit about that later. But I think, at this point, I think she's playing it smart. She don't have to say anything. It's David O. I think you're 100% right. David O has to speak up and be loud for people to hear and see. I think he's actually doing a good job with it. I'm seeing him very visible. I see him showing up. He showed up to We Talk Weekly, so I got to give him a nod to that. But I see him showing up.
Yeah, David O, I think he's showing you who he has been and who he is. Mm-hmm. And from my perspective, he's auditioning for mayor. He's showing you the type of accessibility you will have to him as mayor. Mm-hmm. And conversely, Sherelle Parker is probably showing you the type of access we will have with her as mayor. She may not do interviews. She may not do mayoral forums. She may not. And it's like you just said, she did not appear on We Talk Weekly, and there's been other spaces that she has not appeared. And sometimes there's been reasons that seem acceptable behind it, and other times it's like, well, it doesn't make sense. So ultimately, I think they're both showing you who they are right now.
That's a good point to hold. So listen, guys, I don't want y'all to go anywhere, because when we come back, we have someone with whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for. I'm going to tell you a little story about this young lady who I've been, she kind of came across my timeline, my feed. And I started listening to a lot of the kind of like commentary that she was talking about. And I was like, whoa, I think she's on to something. And I was just listening, and, again, she come by the feed, and I'm just like, wow, I really like her. And I like her because she's doing something a little different, and it's sincere, right? So I'm excited. I actually slid in her inbox like, yo, I think you'll be a great interview. I really want you to come on my show. She was like, yeah, sure, I would love to. So, of course, I set it up, the producers and everything, so I'm excited to have her. So I don't want you guys to go anywhere, because when we come back, we have this young lady going to talk a little bit about what she does and what inspired her to do that. We'll be right back after this. We Talk Weekly's After the Talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weekly's After the Talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Lady S. Dot.
And my guy
Daryl Smith Jr.
Who do we have today? Tell us, who do we have today?
Sherry Corinne Rice. She is a master voice / speech professor, master Reiki practitioner, meditation guide, and actor / director / dialect coach with a master's in fine arts from Brown University. Based in Los Angeles, California, she is the creator of Guided Inspiration and the Art of Awareness. Guided Inspiration is a collection of offerings and methods designed to free the mind, body, and voice, facilitating energetic alignment for vocal and physical balance. The Art of Awareness, a mindful practice for voice and body derived from Rice's innovative voice and speech curriculum at top universities, including New York University, MFA, to Juilliard School, Columbia University, Brown University, Rutgers University, and Professional Performing Arts School. I mean, she can just go to probably any university she wants at this point with that resume. She can go anywhere.
So without further ado, Miss Rice, let me bring Miss Rice up. There she go. How are you? How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Can you
I'm
hear me okay?
Yeah, you're a little low. Let's see if we can bring you up a little bit.
I can also obviously talk much louder.
There you go. It's great. Sound great. There you go. So how are you? How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm having it's been a busy day. I've
Okay.
been uploading videos all
Yeah.
day, and you know how that goes.
Yeah,
Sometimes
absolutely.
it works, sometimes it doesn't. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to start from the beginning because one, you're well-rounded, well-accomplished. Your time in school. I want to know like what made you, because I'm sure you definitely weren't thinking about the videos you do. I know that came like, wow, let me just try this, and it was like, whoa, right? But let's talk a little bit about your schooling and what got you into just this expansive thinking, because your background is just amazing. I mean, that just doesn't happen every day. You don't speak to someone with that type of background, right? And so I'm going to talk about what inspired you to do that field of study and then where you are today.
So I have a master's in fine arts, which is essentially an acting degree. But I went to Brown, which their MFA program is unique to all of the other similar MFA programs at like Yale or NYU, schools like that. Brown's is unique because you study playwriting, you study directing, you get a really well-rounded theatrical education. And while I was in school, I was actually the voice and speech teaching assistant to the man who became my mentor, who in a lot of ways, voice and speech is about vocal production, breath, alignment in the body, but it's often taught by the healers in these acting schools. These are the kind of people who can touch a spot on your body and you break down in tears because you finally release something you've been holding on to your whole life.
Interesting.
And so when I started to take voice and speech classes, I had a lot of issues. I would get constant migraines. I used to get lockjaw a lot when I was a kid, and I didn't know what was causing all of it. And it wasn't until I got into voice and speech, when I started more conservatory style actor training, that doing the warm-ups and doing the breath work and doing the personal massage and the alignment and spine practices and connecting that to the release of the voice, my headaches went away. My
Interesting.
lockjaw went away. And I was like, this is something. And so I started to add it into my daily practice, and I realized I was self-healing. And so I started to teach myself, and then I started to add Reiki into my practice, and I started to add more breath work and different kinds of breath work and body work and yoga and Alexander technique and dance and movement. And I started to see huge differences in my students. They could process their feelings. They could talk about their feelings. They could stand up straight in front of a room full of people and breathe and present and find their whole selves. And so that's really how I, journeyed through that process from being in education to being an educator.
So, can you talk to us more about how this mind body connection worked for you? Because lockjaw, I don't feel like I know enough about to understand how there was a connection.
Yeah. So what happens with our bodies over time? Our subconscious mind logs everything that happens to us. We don't always remember everything that happens to us, but it's in there. And I had in particular what I now call secret keepers tension, where you have a band of tension from ear to ear that includes the throat, right? It's in the entire throat chakra. And that for me came from the fact that when I would go to sleep at night, I would clench my teeth together, hold my jaw really tight, and I would pull the back of my head toward my shoulders. And I was totally unaware of it until I started being conscious, lying on the floor on my back, and I started to do all of the voice and speech techniques, Alexander work, and I started to feel memories coming back, things that I had suppressed, secrets that I had been keeping for other people that were stored in my body. And as I started to practice releasing those things through sound, through breath, through recalling those memories, those bands of tension, which we also call emotional or muscular armoring. When we clench down on a body part because we don't want to feel a feeling, when we close off our heart space because we're afraid somebody's going to hurt our heart, when we pull our shoulders back together because we don't want to be stabbed in the back, when we do that stuff, it becomes a habit. And we're very unconscious of those habits. And any habit we hold long enough turns into a force of its own that has to be undone, right? So that mind-body connection, those subconscious things that you are doing and protecting yourself, those can show up over time as extreme tension, because what you're doing is you're blocking blood flow to that place, right? Which means that you're blocking nerve conduction, which means you don't even feel in that space anymore the way that you should. So you don't know you're doing it until somebody else turns on your consciousness to it and says, hey, let that go. And when you let it go, you feel that connection to the thing it was connected to. Where did it come from? When did you start doing this? For me, it was 8 years old. There was all this stuff that happened when I was 8 years old. It was just a lot of shifts, a lot of changes, some trauma, some, sudden deaths, things that I just couldn't process as a kid. And so I just held it in my body as tension. So that mind-body connection is serious.
Do you find that when you're teaching, your students are receptive to this message you're delivering, this teaching that you're delivering, or do they know what they're getting into?
Oh, they have no idea what they're getting into.
I'm sure.
They have no idea. They sign up and they see voice and speech and they think,
Right.
okay, I'm going to learn how to speak loud.
Public speaking.
And we do that, but that doesn't come until way later, until we've cleared out the channel, until we found alignment, until we've practiced the warm up and found our authentic voices. That comes way later. So, when my students start the class, they're skeptical, but it works. And so they start to see me work with one student. And when I'm in a classroom, we start every year with an assessment, and they do the same assessment every year for however long they're in my class. And you get up on stage and you present a speech. And then I come up and I do a little bit of work on your body, and I help you with alignment. I help you drop your voice in, and I help you breathe, and I help you release where you're holding while you communicate. And every student in the room sees the difference because they know each other and they know how they usually sound, and they know where a person's usual habits are. And when they see someone else make the leap and shift, then they're dying to do it. They're dying to have me get up and work with them so that they can get to where they just saw their friend get to. So healthy skepticism is actually a good thing, because then you can see the change.
That makes sense.
This is heavy just listening to this. I'm wondering the difference in, I guess, the men that you work with versus the women that you work with, because I can see, that it would seem that women would be more susceptible to opening up, right? Open to making, this leap of faith, versus men feeling like either intimidated to do so, either their ego holds them back, or feeling like, is this real, right? Do you see, and I could be wrong, right? But do you see any difference between genders as you go through this process, and those who open up versus those who don't?
It actually doesn't fall out in terms of gender, interestingly enough, because everybody holds in different places for different reasons. Right. So often it's just different kinds of holding. And in terms of skepticism, it's always people who want to improve.
Yeah.
And if you want to improve, you're looking for that answer. Right. And, people are very interested in themselves. People want to know, what's my thing? What do I do? Right. So it only takes a short amount of time. And also they see it within me. They see how I speak and how I hold myself. And there's a part of them, especially early on in the training, where they want to be able to do that. That's what they're there for, especially when we're talking about acting schools, right? Now, where different genders hold tension that's the piece. Men, because of their musculature and what is praised within masculinity,
Right.
men tend to have a lot of heart protection. They tend to have overbuilt muscles in the back body that tends to pull the shoulders back together and puffs the chest out. Women, it's the exact opposite. Shoulders pull forward, chest pulls down and in. There's a simple reason for that. Men tend to want to look strong, and that leads to, like I said, heart protection in the back. The heart is in the middle of the chest, not the front, not the left, not the right. It's in the middle. And so when we protect our heart in the back, it's this sense of, I don't know who's going to try to hurt me, but nobody's going to try to hurt me. It's the unknown enemy, right? For women, especially if they develop early, okay? If you develop around 10, 11, 12 years old, you start pulling your chest in and back because you don't want the attention. You don't want people to treat you like an adult when you are a child. So you start to pull your breasts away and pull the shoulders forward. And so you tend to see a collapsed posture forward for women and a collapsed posture backward for men.
Wow, I'm having my tomorrow 12-year-old daughter listen to exactly that because she's developing early at the same rate and numbers you said, and I can see what you're saying. And I was going to ask you about how you identify where you're holding your attention, because for me, I think I'm hearing everything you're saying and I'm agreeing. As a man, I want a big chest and I want a strong back. Is that where I'm holding my attention? Or is it because I'm working out? Now I'm kind of, is it because I'm working out, or is it because I'm stressed out?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. If you lift a lot of weights, you got to stretch an equal amount. Because if you build muscle that's inflexible, you're just putting tension on tension, right? You can have a strong muscle is a flexible muscle, not a big muscle, right? So you want to have flexibility. So, to start to identify where you hold tension, start to think about where you have pain. What do you adjust a lot? Do you feel like you adjust your shoulders? Do you feel like you need to roll your neck? Do you feel like you need to stretch your jaw? That usually tells us where we have more tension than we need. The other way to assess, get yourself on the floor, put a yoga mat down, lay flat on your back, put your feet up and put your feet flat on the floor so that they're in sort of a triangle position, right? Lay there with your arms out to the side, okay, and breathe. And your body will start to talk to you. And it'll start to scream at you in little places where it's like, I don't want to open. I want to stay tight, right? And you might feel little bursts of pain or little, energetic flashes in your body, or memories start to come back. And you try to breathe into it. Wherever it's difficult to breathe into, especially from the neck down to the hips, if it's tough for you to breathe there, that's where you're holding tension. If you can't breathe into your belly, you've probably been sucking your belly in your whole life. If you can't breathe into your chest, you've probably been muscular armoring around your heart, right? If your hips feel tight, really low toward the hip bones, you're probably holding or clenching your cheeks together all the time, and that causes a lot of tension. So that's where you have to stretch, open, move, add warmth, get your synovial fluid moving so that you're not stiff. And that's how you can start to address the tension that you hold.
Wow. She's giving us gems, y'all.
Yeah, she giving some cheat codes there. I'm as you're talking, I'm like, I'm going through everything in my body, like
I literally just checked
my
my
neck,
breathing.
my stomach, my chest, that whole type of thing. And so I'm curious, right? And I ask people this question as it relates to those who are in the service oriented, especially when it comes to psychology, right? Which this is a level of. How do you, okay, most of the time, you guys as a service oriented field, you're constantly giving, healing, fixing. How do you take the moment for yourself to check on yourself and heal without your energy being taken away so much, because you're giving your energy? How do you manage that?
I don't give my energy. I give source energy, right?
Okay.
I'm a channel. So if I open up my channel, if I'm in alignment I'm bringing in source energy. And actually, after I work with somebody, I'm more energized. I'm more motivated because I've been open and I'm breathing. And here's the difference. You know, I called my business guided inspiration because inspiration means breath. Inspiration is taking in a breath, right? And guided is all about the fact that, you know, I do coaching, but I'm not a coach. I'm a guide. A coach stands on the side. You're
Where did she
not
go?
doing, right? So if a coach is telling you what to do, but they're not doing it, they're standing on the sidelines. A guide is someone who walks the path with you that they have walked before, and they take you along the way. So when I'm working with people, I'm not sitting back watching. I'm doing it with them. We warm up together. We stretch together. So every time I work with a client, I'm getting better. I'm healing. I'm more aligned. So I feed myself as I feed you, right? It's just like eating.
Right.
It's hard to eat alone, but somebody else sits down to eat with you and suddenly your appetite activates. We are communal creatures, so we need one another in order to inspire our healing, in order to see the path that we need to get on.
Can you talk a little bit more about how you do that, how you channel? Because sometimes I feel like I'm pouring from my cup
Yes.
and I'm draining my, let's say, water to fill your cup. How do I pour straight from the hose through my cup to your cup?
Yeah. So that's where the alignment piece comes in. Okay. When you think about the energetic centers in the body, which is not just a woo-woo thing, okay? The energetic centers in the body are clusters of fascia, right? So there are connections happening in the central parts of the body, along the spine, just underneath our layer of skin, right? We've got these clusters of energy. And if they are in alignment together, it's just like any other kind of circuitry. If you put a bend in the wire, you might turn the lights on, but they're going to flicker and they're not really going to be as strong. But you make that connection straight, right? Then all of a sudden, the light's brighter. So if you can align yourself physically and breathe deeply so that your blood is oxygenated, so that your brain is oxygenated, so that your neurological pathways are connecting, right? You're not cutting off your nerves from one another. You're letting everything talk to each other. If you're utilizing breath through your system, that is how you facilitate alignment. And channeling is just opening up without suppressing. So when I channel, one of the things I do is I keep my jaw relaxed so that whatever thought comes through comes right out of my mouth. I don't hold it. I don't try to process it for myself because it's not for me. So right now, this whole talk, I've been channeling. I didn't think about what I was going to say. I'm just letting the language flow through me because it's not my sense of knowing that I have to rely on. I can rely on the universal sense of knowing. If I open up my wisdom chakra, the Alta Major, which is the major chakra for communication, it's at the back of the neck, right where our fight and flight center is, right where the spine meets the brain. If you keep that open, they call it the mouth of God. If the mouth of God is open, then you can speak from the human mouth with the inspiration of the mouth of God. If you close the mouth of God, all you have is humanity. You're all blocked. And this causes you to use so much energy because you're so tight and you're so out of alignment. But as soon as you lengthen the back of the neck, open up that space underneath the curve of the skull, then you start to channel.
I mean, everyone's quiet here, you know. I usually run my mouth, but I'm listening to you, right? Because I'm like, wow. Because as you're saying, I'm kind of going through mentally those motions and seeing or trying to understand to the channeling aspect, right? What do you do? I want you to tell me, right? I want you to think about it, and I want you to tell me your morning process. Like, soon as you wake up, what is your morning process like?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm one of those people where I like to wake up and then I like to spend a bit of time just in bed. I don't jump out of bed right away. I really don't like to set an alarm. I like to just let my body wake up naturally, which means I have to go to sleep early enough so that will happen. And then the first thing I do The biggest part of it is how I get out of bed. Most people get out of bed wrong. Most people do all the things that we do most without ever learning to do them properly, right? We learn how to walk, we learn how to talk, we learn how to sleep, but nobody ever teaches us how to do those things.
Right.
And so we do all of those things using more tension, effort, and stress than we should. The biggest thing is to initiate with breath. So the first thing I do when I wake up is I start to breathe deeper. I start to oxygenate my body. It helps me wake up. It wakes up my brain. And then I roll over and I get onto my hands and knees in my bed. I get into that tabletop position. And then I put one leg down on the floor. And then I rotate and put the other leg down on the floor. And then I lean up straight. Rather than getting out of my bed like I'm getting out of a chair and pushing up, I put myself in a position where my spine is long and I literally climb out of bed. And so by starting myself that way, I undo whatever tightness I might have developed over the time when I'm sleeping. And the first thing I do is I stretch out my body. I reach up toward the sky and I pick some apples. I open up my rib cage. Again, I'm trying to oxygenate the body to wake up my brain, right? So I pick those apples. Sometimes, I'll hum. Humming is a really great way to warm up the voice. And it's also a healing mechanism, okay? When we speak out loud, that's catharsis. We let things out. We tell our story. People can hear us. They can communicate with us. That's release, right? When we hum and we keep the sound inside, this is why Om is so powerful. It makes the whole nervous system vibrate. It sends a vibration down the spine. It's very soothing. It's very calming. And it realigns your system. So if you just hum for a couple minutes in the morning, 2 to 5 minutes, put on a song and hum along with it. You'll wake up your brain. You'll wake up your vocal cords, which often we feel scratchy in the morning. And then you'll start to feel like you get a little bit more hungry because now that energy is moving down to your belly because you're breathing deep. Okay. And then I love coffee. I add a little mushroom powder to my coffee. I'm all about those adaptogenic mushrooms. It really helps my digestive system.
Yeah.
I'm a Virgo, so we always have digestive issues. So I add those mushrooms to my coffee so that I can have the taste of coffee, but also get those nutrients. And, then I start my work and I make sure to sit up nice and tall while I do it so that I can tell the difference between when my body is tired and I need to rest, right? A lot of us spend our periods of work time in habits or postures of rest.
Right.
And if you're in a rest posture, you're going to feel tired before you are tired. If you're in a power posture, you're going to stay in power until it's time to turn it off. And then you feel it. Oh, I'm done. Let me get up. Let me walk around. Let me go do something else.
You give me, you're very introspective, right? You understand yourself. And I think that's the problem with most of us. We truly don't understand ourselves, right? And the humming piece, people have been doing that before time. Like, the whole idea of channeling and reaching is the humming that, Buddhists do, that many people do to meditate, right? And so I 100% get it. Why do you believe, what do you think the issue is of our people, right? Our melanated people, I'm only speaking to them. Why do you think we're so guarded and don't want to kind of give out, to open up? What do you think that is?
We're powerful. And when you open a powerful well, it's like opening a dam. The water is going to flood through it. So a lot of us live in fear of our own power. If we let go of whatever we've been holding on to, everything flows through. We are naturally connected to source. I mean, we are the original people. So if we let go and just let our energy radiate from us, we are seen more. It's hard to hide, right? We're usually strong people. I mean, I don't want to get too deep, but when you look at, chattel slavery, we were bred to be strong.
Yeah.
We were bred to be athletic. So that DNA runs through us. So when you unleash us in our full power, we are hard to ignore. And in a society where we are constantly under stress and we are constantly under attack, we don't want to draw attention to ourselves in a lot of ways. And sometimes when we don't want positive attention because of our value, we attract negative attention by masking our value with a bunch of other garbage, right? So we're powerful people, and that's a burden to some. But when we unlock it, that's where we're at.
Yeah, wow, you're amazing. You're amazing. And I wanna use that as a transition to you understanding emotional, kind of like this whole idea of emotional intelligence, right? I've been looking at your videos, and I want to jump into that real quick. I could talk to you forever, and we've been here almost a half hour already. That's crazy, right? But let's jump into your videos. Why don't you give context to your videos? Because I wouldn't do it any justice. I'm just amazed that I'm like, yeah, I see exactly what you're saying, right? Why don't you give context to your videos and what got you into doing that, and how is it that easy for you to pick up on those nuances?
So I'm going to work backwards. The way that it's so easy for me to pick up on it is I've been doing this for a long time.
Okay.
I've worked with a lot of people. So, and I remember things, and I remember what it means when I uncover something. So the power of working with a lot of different students is that I check in. Is that what this means? Do you feel that? Do you understand that? Are you hiding that? Are you letting that go? Right? I'm constantly checking in on their end so that I can calibrate my system of understanding. And so that's the difference between me and a lot of people who learn things from books. I learn from people. I learn from practice. I'm a practitioner, right? You don't want the doctor who's only ever studied and learned about the human body from a book, do you? You want the doctor who works with people and practices on people and has years of experience with people, right? So, in my videos, I talked about how we have energy centers, and each energy center rules different facets of communication, okay? Our crown communicates with spirit. Our third eye is our intuition. Our throat is clarity. Our heart is empathy, compassion. Our solar plexus is willpower, also vocal power, because that's where the diaphragm lives. The sacral energy is intimacy and creativity, because that's where the reproductive organs are. Then the root is where we start off life, right? That is where we are connected to the earth. We are trees, right? So our body is just like a tree. We got a trunk and we got roots that connect us to the earth. But we're trees that move, so we have to reroot all the time. That's why root work is not just a one-time thing. You got to do it all the time because you're constantly moving into new environments. So when I'm looking at a person's energy and I'm reading their energy, I'm looking at which bands of energy are the most active, which ones are not active at all. Where are the habits? Where is the muscular armoring? Where is the tension? And then what does the tension in that part of the body tell me, right? We talked about the heart. If you're blocking the heart, that means that you either have not felt compassion, you are afraid to feel compassion, you lack empathy, or others lack empathy for you. And then I'm using context, right? I'm a voice and speech teacher. So how does speech, language connect to what's moving while you speak, right? And then how does the sound of your voice and its placement correlate to that energetic center? Low sounds live in the root. High sounds live in the head, right? Head voice. So if I'm listening to the voice, I can hear where it is in the energetic system, right? And if I'm listening and watching the body, listening to the breath, I can see what's moving and what's not. And so then I put the pieces together and I see what's consistent for an individual. I see what's consistent for all people. I see where things are inconsistent for people.
So she's not. I know you got a question, but she's not doing. Listen, she's being very, very humble right now. But I gotta do real quick. You're listening to We Talk Weeklies After the Talk on WPPM LP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies After the Talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Lady Esther.
and my guy.
Daryl Smith Jr.
All right, so this is the thing, right? Wow. All right, so to put this in context, before I let Lady Esther speak real quick, to put this in context, right? You have to look at her IG, or you have a YouTube page also, correct?
I don't really. I kind of have a YouTube. I do, but
all
I
right,
don't
go
post
to her
on
IG. You have to go. Say your IG real quick
TikTok.
while I'm talking about it real quick.
It's at Guided Inspiration. All
Got
one
it.
Word Guided Inspiration.
So Instagram, TikTok, and what she does, like I said, she's not. I want her to come on, like I'm gonna do the sister some justice right now. This sister is amazing. If you look at how she's reading, she literally does. You know how you kind of can remix a video on Instagram or TikTok or something. What she does is kind of remix a clip of reality-based content, right? Or anything, not just reality show. And what she does is a conversation. She literally reads them as they're actually having a dialogue. And it makes you wonder, like, gee, I can see it. It's right. And it's so good. It was so good, so much that's why she's on the show. I had to run through. Go ahead, Lady Esther. I had to gotta give you kudos, sister. Go ahead.
Thank you.
I didn't so much have a question as much as I wanted to thank you for what you're doing, because I learned many, many years ago that we do carry things in our bellies, in our joints, in our hearts, in our backs, and we don't always know where those things come from. And what do? We go to the doctor. I have this pain, and they're just trying to fix us with medicine, right? But a lot of times those things that we carry, it is definitely the mental and the physical, which is why I tell people it's important to take care of yourself and your mental health, because what you don't realize is you may not feel like you're stressed, but things start to come out in our through our bodies physically, right? When we start to go through things. And so it's very important. But one of the things, and I heard you say something about you being a Virgo. I see the crystal around your neck. Like, I understand the energy. You're talking about chakras. I'm with you. That's my life. I live it. Everybody's not a believer. So what you're doing, like you said, is actually making them a believer. Because what you get to, through your class, you get to show and prove, right? To where other people say, hey, do me, right? And they want the knowledge. But like I said, understanding where we hold all that tension, you just brought everything full circle for me by talking about where it starts from a child for a lot of us.
Yes.
Right? So what happens is now we've been carrying that thing for so long.
That thing.
6, 7,
That's right.
8 years old. Now we're 46, 47, 48 years old, and now we're wondering why our bodies are in so much pain, right? It's like, I'm 40. I shouldn't have a problem with my knees or my joints. But if you've been carrying something, whatever that thing is in your for that long, that's why you're starting to have these issues. But and as much as I've known that, listening to you just break it down for us of where it starts is a big deal, because I'm sure all of us could probably pinpoint, where do you feel like your life started, or where any trauma or anything happened. I know for me, the age 7 was a big number, a big year for me. So I could track a lot of things back to that year. But you actually make me want to, I'm that person right now that's like, do me. 'Cause I want to know like where those things kind of start, even though I know what my issues are. Now I kind of want to know where it started. So I appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna pull this back up. Daryl just put this up. Look, you have to go to her IG. I don't normally do this, honestly, but I think it's something that we need to see. And I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick. Why don't you? What do you see in me? What's the feeling, the energy, or the vibe that you get from me in doing this interview? Right, I'm putting my own self on the spot, right? In doing this interview, what's the feeling or the vibe that you get from me, Charles Gregory?
Okay, can you do something for me? Can we do a little exercise together?
You sure can. Let's go.
Okay. I want you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose, lengthen the back of your neck, let your shoulders relax. Okay, let that breath out. And now we're going to take a clean one. And after this breath, you're going to sigh it out. Sigh out the sound. Okay. Good. Now put a little more sound on that breath. I want less breath, more sound. Try it one more time. Now, can you talk to me from that place, the place where you just went, huh? Can you talk from down there?
Talk from down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I can. Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
can you just support that with a little more breath, but talk from that same place where you sighed? Huh.
So I talk from this space.
Yeah.
Right.
Now let your arms be nice and open
Okay,
so that
right.
there's space underneath
Right.
your rib cage.
Right.
Okay. Now keep that neck long in the back,
Okay.
because that's going to also put your mouth right by your microphone so you won't have
Right.
to adjust.
Right.
Okay. Now keep yourself nice and long.
Right.
And you're actually going to make a bit more sound with your voice.
Okay.
Because what happens with you is that you tend to move your sound up into your nasal cavity. And I
see.
want to keep it down in your authentic voice
I
where
see,
the
I see.
richness is.
That's
so
right.
that when you sigh out and you go, huh, that's where your voice wants to live, because that's where it's not doing any work. You won't be tired after speaking. You'll have more energy after you speak.
Yes.
And you'll have your voice will last longer, right? And actually, the nasal cavity is a safe place to speak from because it reaches very far,
Right.
but you don't have to reach very far. You have a microphone. So you save that nasal for when you're in a stadium full of people and you've got to scream across the lane.
Right.
When you're in this space, use that authentic voice, that open, low sigh.
I love that, and why I love that is because
See,
I
already it's better. You hear that?
Yeah. I often, and Lady Esther, I can tell you, I lose my voice
Aha.
when I'm here. Sometimes I lose my voice a lot, and I get exhausted by the time I'm done.
Yep.
I'm done. I love it. I love what you do. And listen, let me pull this up right now. I'm gonna keep this voice right here. I see
It's
it.
crazy because
It's
can we
nice,
not all
right?
hear the change in
Yes, I
Charles's
can hear the
voice?
It's
change.
crazy.
I don't know if I like this voice.
I don't know.
Hey, here's the
He
thing.
sounds calmer.
Yeah.
Calmer.
Yeah.
But new things are often uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
We get really used to discomfort because it's the habit. Habits start to feel comfortable after a while, but dis-ease leads to disease. So you gotta be easy. You gotta be soft on your body. You gotta be soft on your voice. You gotta be easy because dis-ease leads to disease.
Still in that.
Dis-ease leads to disease. I love that.
Y'all know that
We're gonna
little
borrow
thing in
that.
your
Just let
DMs
It's-
where you can put your
You
words.
can have that for
That's going
free.
right there. Right
You
now.
have that for free.
I appreciate you. We really appreciate you for coming to the show. We have to. You got to promise that you come back.
Please.
Oh, I'll come back anytime.
Yeah. One thing that we say on the show is once you come to a show, you're a friend to the show, so you're always welcome to come back. But I think in what you do is very unique, right? Because you speak from a position of authenticity. You speak from a position of experience in what you go through, right? And you're an educator, so that's a great thing. But I love that you are doing something that a lot of people are not doing. It's very interesting. And once you see, let me pull this back up for the sister. Once you see and go to her IG or TikTok, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about, right? And so before I let you leave, this is something that I ask everyone that I haven't done in a while. I have to ask you this question.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that no one else knows about CC Rice?
Ooh.
Yeah, the one thing. I mean, you got to dig deep in that clutch, that purse, right?
I mean, I'm an oversharer. So
That's what everyone
everybody
says
knows
until they
everything.
think a little deeper. Now this is what I want you to do. I want you to go one more time, right? There you go. And I want you to elongate that neck, right? And I want you to close and think and dig deep, right? And pull out that one thing that no one else knows. Holla at me.
You know, most people don't know that I'm a really, really good dancer. I mean, like, I'm not just like, I don't know ballet. I don't know none of that stuff, but I like to freestyle. Like, I love to go to a club. I love a party. I went to Burning Man last year. Like, I like to dance, and that's how I connect to myself. And it's the thing that people are most surprised by because I don't lead with that. So That's something most people don't know about me until they go out with me, and then they're like, "Wait, what?"
No doubt, no doubt. There you have it. What's one thing? And before I let you go, and I do this with every guest, right? Because your field is interesting again, and I want you to leave one thought or one word or one kind of like idea to someone who may be watching this show and maybe going through some of those things, those, introverted places, those scary places because they're scared to open up, right? Mm-hmm. I want you to leave us out with one thing that you would tell them.
I would tell them to place their hands on their heart and close their eyes, take a nice deep breath. And when I say deep, I mean your belly has to expand while you breathe. And I want you to just ask yourself, what's wrong? What's wrong? And listen for the answer. And after you hear the answer, I want you to ask yourself, what's right? What's right? We need balance. If you're searching for how to heal yourself, if you're searching for what's disrupting you, you got to know what's the good. What do you want to keep? Who are you at your core? What do you bring to the table so that you can separate that from the things that you can let go of?
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. I'll give you a round of applause right there. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Miss CeCe Rice, I love you to death. You got to make sure that you come back onto the show, and we'll definitely be in touch, even with my low voice. That's
there we
from
go.
The
I love
there
it so much.
We all going to Guided Inspiration on IG and TikTok and guidedinspo.com.
Yes. Thank
There
you
we go.
so much, everyone.
Absolutely.
Have a blessed day, y'all.
Absolutely.
You
So
too. Thank you.
there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want you to go anywhere. When we come back, we have another dynamic interview, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's next and what this young lady is doing. We'll be right back after this. We love you, CeCe Rice. Make sure you come back on the show, and we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.
Talk Weeklies After the Talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies After the Talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Lady Esther.
and my guy.
Daryl Smith Jr.
And I love that interview. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna have to stay in contact with that sister.
She's got to come back.
Yeah, definitely. That she gotta keep me right and tight. I gotta keep my voice right and tight. I gotta make sure.
That's not working for
I
me.
know. Start sounding like you'll never find. No
late nights.
Yeah, this is late nights.
That's what it's reminded me of.
This
See,
is
I
Colt
worked with him
45.
all these years, and now all of a sudden he sounds like this. I'm like, nah, bruh,
Colt-
change it back.
Colt 45. No doubt. So who do we have today? My guy, holla at me.
Katrina and Miss Katrina, I apologize if I mispronounce your last name. Miss Katrina Cabrerio is a highly accomplished filmmaker, screenwriter, director, and producer hailing from Buena Park, California. Recent film projects: Inheriting Hood. Katrina recently completed a film project, Inheriting Hood, a compelling story about a girl who delved into the world of street life with the guidance of her long-lost cousin following a traumatic event. Achievement with Ghost Boyfriend. Her film Ghost Boyfriend achieved significant recognition, winning the top film of 2022 at the Indie Night Film Festival, founded by Jamie Foxx's producing partner Dave Brown. It also received an award in episodic categories at the official Latino Film Festival in 2022. Katrina's short film, Federal Approved Parent, featuring Lillian Montenegro from BET Sacrifice, received accolades including Best Sketch Comedy and Best Sketch Comedy Actress at the HBO-sponsored official Latino Film Festival. Her short film, Addict, was an official selection at the prestigious festival and featured notable actor Katrina's work and featured notable actors, Katrina's works have been showcased at acclaimed film festivals such as the Catalina Film Festival and have gained media attention from NBC, Deadline, and Voyage LA. I'm not quite sure. Excuse me again.
She'll make sure she corrects it.
Please do. She was also a finalist in the Sundance TV Lab in 2017. Katrina holds a MFA in screenwriting and a BA in cinema and television arts from CSUF. Her journey in the industry began with internships, and she has since built an impressive career that I just noted. Katrina has contributed her skills to prominent productions and studios, including TMZ, Conan, and Warner Brothers. She has also served as a director's assistant for Infamous in 2022 and a producer for the critically acclaimed indie film Psychosynthesis, also 2022. Katrina's latest achievement is the release of her independent TV series, now available on Prime Video and Tubi. Katrina's films have appeared at Indie Night Film Festival at the TCL Chinese Theater. And you could always look her up at KatrinaCabrero.com.
Shout out to, let me give her a round of applause.
Yes.
Bring her right up. My sister, how are you?
I am good. Thank you for having me. That was a really good intro.
Can you please tell me if I'm saying your last name with any degree of respect?
Yeah, I mean, that's another way of saying it, but usually it's like pronounced Sabreo. Like with
Sabreo.
an S sound, yeah.
Thank you. All right.
Sabrell. All right, there you go. I love it. First and foremost, kudos to you, and I want to apologize personally. Because you were supposed to come on last week, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And we had some difficulties over here last week in Philadelphia. So I want to apologize to you personally, but I'm glad that you're here today. Absolutely. And I love the fact that you're in the context or industry that we're in as it relates to television production and producing and directing and movie creation, even the film circuit, right? Lady Estat does a lot in the circuit, and it's good to see that you are, a woman in the space, right? And I want to start with the idea of what got you into film. Specifically the genre that you're in, but what made you think about this is what I want to do and I want to start to create in this space?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I feel like for most people, it's like comes to them, when they're coming of age in high school or something, but it just was always something I wanted to do since I was like a little kid. I've wanted to do it since I was like 4 years old. I remember making movies with my dad. I'm like, Dad, let's make a movie. I inherited it if you believe in like inheriting more than just physical traits from your parents, but I think my dad had the bug and I kind of like inherited it because I wanted to do it ever since I was a really young girl. So it was just always something in me. And then I remember seeing, and this is like film critics and film lovers will like give me shit for this, but one of the main movies that I feel like inspired me the most was The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
I love the twist at the end and how it captivated the audience. But usually, you have to say things like Citizen Kane or like one of those like iconic movies like Godfather, which are amazing films as well. But I think like when I was a kid, I just remember watching The Sixth Sense and being so inspired by the story and being able to like mislead the audience like that, but still telling an amazing story and having this ending that was foreseeable, but we didn't see it. Like, damn it, how did we miss that? With all those clues. So yeah, I love the storytelling aspect of making films.
I see dead people. I see that. I love. That's probably one of the top 10 movies of all time. That's in my top 10.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm interested because that's giving me M. Night Shyamalan vibes, right? And so, are you a fan of his? Do you start to create based around like your favorite producers and directors?
Yeah, I was really, really inspired by him
Yeah.
and his genre that he tells stories in. But like when I went to school for it and I was writing similar stories of like supernatural elements and horror and suspense, but I ended up always like it always ended up being more comedic and I always ended up having people laugh and stuff. And I realized I really enjoy laughter. So now I tie in a lot of comedy to my stories. So even though I sometimes tell dramatic stories, there's always a lot of comedy elements, which I really enjoy. And then when you watch it in a theater and you get to watch the audience watch it, it is fulfilling to hear them laughing. You get like a little bit of a fulfilling bug. And also, with drama, you don't know if it's hitting them as well as comedy because they have the outburst of laughter that we get to hear if it's funny or not.
I,
So
I have a quick question, real quick. And this is a little bit of a spin because I don't want to forget this question. Hollywood is going through this huge issue right now, the writer strike, right?
mhm.
Are you affected by that? Do you see yourself, you know, falling in line with the sentiments of the writers? Do you believe that, and these are layered questions, of course. These are, a few questions, and you can take them and answer it how you see fit. But, what's your take on a writer strike? And is it something that you believe that can be fixed, or do you feel like it's always going to be an issue?
I think it could be resolved. I think the big studios are hardballing right now
Yeah.
with the new development of AI technology. Maybe
Yeah.
that could be like a threat on creatives' part, and that's maybe something they're holding over their heads. But I think nothing can recreate the emotional aspect that humans can bring. Algorithms
100%.
stuff helps so much, but it's just recreating what's already been created as opposed to reaching new heights that we want to see as an audience because we're ready to grow and our conscious level is expanding and now we're ready to see different type of stories with a different type of depth that AI can't bring.
Yeah.
So there's hope there. But yeah, just with the writer strike, just hoping to get a fair wage for writers and residuals and actors and creatives alike that's not offered on streaming services as of now because the deal is that is currently in place is just goes back before streaming services really blew up. So the residuals weren't negotiated properly because we didn't foresee the future of it being so much as it being streamed. So many old films go on streaming services, so many old TV shows, and we watch it, and writers and actors and creatives aren't getting paid accurately for what they put into it. So it would be nice for the big studios to share the wealth a little bit and pay their creatives, and so
Yeah.
they can make a decent living. So yeah, definitely am for it. I just want it to be settled. It does affect me as a worker in the industry because work is a little bit slower. Productions are halting. Film festivals
Yeah.
have canceled in support of the unions. So yeah, it does affect us all. We're just hoping it to be settled. It's negotiating this weekend, so we're hoping for that to finalize
Yeah.
pretty soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead, Lady Esther. I know you got a question.
No, I just was um, thinking a lot about not just what the studios have been um, doing in regards to the residuals, but the other big piece has been like the AI. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
so what are your thoughts about that? Because I know one of the things that was like also affecting how people were getting paid. I heard
Yeah.
one story where someone who was hired for a project, I think, and they were supposed to have been on the project for 4 months, and then they came in and on day one they did scans, and then the
Oh, yeah,
production
I
just
heard
never
about
called
I
them
heard
back
about that too.
because
Yeah.
I think they were background, right? So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, see, that's crazy. And that's like something in a contract too, that they can just use that person's likeness and image for indefinitely.
Right.
And it's just like the residuals on that. I don't even know if they're getting even paid very much on that. It's like almost like they just got the day rate and they don't get anything
Mm-hmm.
for their
Mm-hmm.
likeness and image. It's insane that that's even it could be legal in a contract, so that's where we're trying to fight back those aspects of not having that lifetime rights of your property, no renegotiation aspect for the person that's offering their likeness. It's just, yeah, that's crazy. But that's the whole AI is the future, right? It's just scary. I don't.
Yeah.
It's hard to predict, to know what, you know, where it comes in and where it's, because I was talking to one of my friends who he makes beats, and AI can technically like now make beats, but
Yeah.
Right.
instead of being scared of it, he's using it to feed off it. So now he can like think of what he wants in his brain, kind of like tell AI what he wants. It comes up with something, but it's not exactly what he wants. So you can go back and tweak it through AI technology. So it just helps him make beats further, as opposed to, having to recreate certain elements like that he isn't familiar with, because he's really good at drums.
Yeah.
So I think there's ways to use AI for your creative endeavors and make it get farther. But yeah, I know AI technology is like really scary. When I first like saw it can just recreate like a whole outline for a story, it's like, oh my God, are we out of a job? Like, have I been
What?
working this hard for a robot to take over?
Well, that was one of the biggest things with the writers strike, because you could just talk into this thing and say, hey, write me a 90-page script about whatever, and it would just pound it out, right? So the writers, it's like they can just do this. So you don't really need a writer if you're just a creator, right? And then with the cast, if you're able to just take imaging of someone and use that, so now you have these creatives out here that are just making full-fledged features without having to use anyone other than maybe a director.
Yeah.
Yes.
And folks with just some equipment or a computer, like so it's really, I definitely see the benefits of it. But I always thought about it from a standpoint of doing something like I don't know, something like a movie with a ton of special effects, like a superhero movie, or animation, but it kind of taking over real life is scary.
Yeah. But I have to say, I read a lot of, I don't know why, I read a lot of old Hollywood books. It's just something I'm interested in. And the technology has always been really scary for entertainment for as long as we can remember. Like there was theater, when radio came, like no one's going to go to the theater anymore, but theater's still alive. And then, after theater was TV, or no, it was movies. Movies came. And then they're like, no one's going to listen to the radio, but radio's still around. And they look even like reformed, and now it's like podcasts and things like that. So talk radio and stuff is still around. And then TV came, and everyone's like, no one's going to go to the movies, but all that's still around. So there's still aspects to it. AI technology is a little scary, but I think back in the day, it's always been something new. And we're always like, oh no, it's going to cancel out the previous entertainment
Oh,
that
absolutely.
people consume, but it's always still around. Even people still go to the theater today. So
Now, I think all of those benefits are amazing, right? Even if you can duplicate a person. But the biggest thing with the strike is making sure that the contracts are intact and what they need to be. So you can't just use an actor or actress's, imaging without, proper contractual rights, or with their knowledge, or with their approval, or it should be something in there that says if you do, it's only under these circumstances, right? So I mean, I get it. For example, Jamie Foxx was in the middle of a big movie when he got sick, right, and had to go into the hospital, but he still had like a few days left of filming that he had to do. Maybe in a situation like that, it's like, okay, for budget standpoint, for this, that, or the other, maybe we can just finish the movie with this, right? That makes sense to me. But to just say, hey, we're going to use this actor in our film without letting them know, without paying them, and now we have a feature with this person, and there's nothing that they can do about it, because the original contracts doesn't have any rights built around this, because nobody knew how far it was going to go. I feel like that's more of a problem.
Yeah, that's insane that that's even possible. That's even in a contract. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, I've seen scenarios where actors have passed before a movie has finished filming,
That
and
too.
then they finish that way. So, but I have a daughter who is an inspiring thespian. And so I'm very interested in talking to you, and very interested in your perspective, and more not necessarily about being the actor, but about the production. And I'm wondering, even along the lines with this AI, I would feel like something will be missing. You are a screenwriter and you have directed. So, from my perspective, and I'm trying to hear from your perspective, doesn't it does it work better when you have a person to person? Because if I'm a director, I would feel like that's kind of awkward to be reading from a computer a script versus being able to talk to the writer and they help guide how I'm directing. Like, can you speak more to why it would be important to maintain the human to human?
Yeah, I mean, that human to human connection is really beautiful. And it's like a collaboration, especially on set. It's like, the pressure of being on time and getting this, it just like creates diamonds. Like, it's like just the pressure of being on set. It just really creates a collaboration between director and actor. And that's why I'm like, I'm not too scared of AI because it can't be imitated. I think what you
Hmm.
create on set, it's almost like you don't even know what you can collaborate. You can have the script and the actor can have rehearsed, and like when we get on the day, things can come up, and that's what's beautiful about the collaboration between director and actor and the human connection of what we're trying to tell, because we're trying to tell human stories and relatable stories that touch the soul. So that's our goal. So yeah, I don't see how it can be imitated with a computer collaboration. Like, I can't see that. Can't imitate emotions. It can emulate them as a sense of an algorithm of maybe, but it's like, but I don't feel like it's humans are as predictable as an algorithm. There's so many verse, like every snow, like there's no one snowflake alike. There's just like that with humans. So it can never capture every aspect of humanism, I would like to think, like.
When you are a director, when you put your directing hat on, do you like to have been the writer or do you prefer that someone else was the writer?
Yeah, I do prefer to be the writer of the
Okay, I
of
would
my
think
own
so.
project that I'm directing. Yeah, I do. I do love to bring to life something that I've written. Yeah, 'cause I'm so passionate about the story. I've got this far, so that's definitely what I enjoy.
And how do you direct? What would you talk Can you talk about your approach to directing, how you identify the actors that fit the mood and tone of the character you developed and how you pull that actor into the space that you envision that character to be?
I think it goes back to like casting, making sure that you cast the character correctly. Once you do that, it's usually you cast someone that really understands the character, that really can portray this character really well. So then when I get on set, we already know what we're doing. We do rehearse a little bit, but I don't. Definitely, the director doesn't like to over rehearse, because I feel like when you explore it on set is what's more beautiful. When it's like replayed over and over again, then it gets kind of like boring and just like you're over it, from any perspective. So then when we get on set, I definitely am a little bit, I would say, relaxed as a director as far as like trusting the actors to get where they need to go. We'll talk about it, we'll get them in the space, but I love the actors to explore. I'm not like very particular, like, you need to know, can you place your hand right here? Can you face this way? Or like do it like this? Like, like every little tidbit that some directors like, oh, I want you to like put your hand on your head. Like they have that visualized in their head in the scene. Some directors are very particular on like actions and this and that, the way they want the words to be said. But I love the actors to explore and bring that themselves. So yeah, that's how I feel like I like to direct. But I'm still learning every day and still want to become a better director each and every day. So still working on that.
So, out of all the roles that you've done on productions, what's your favorite?
Um, I do. I really, really love the post production aspect after I've,
Hmm.
Interesting.
written, directed, usually produced, and then I love like getting in the edit bay and seeing what came up. It's just like it's like the most exciting time for me. So I'm like, okay, all this hard work, and then seeing the images in the edit bay is what like really gives me joy. It's like my favorite part, and like putting it together. like
So
when I'm most excited.
do you edit also?
Yeah, I do edit also. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
are you saying if you had to pick one, you'd be an editor?
No, if I had to only pick one and get paid to do it, I would pick probably, oh, that's hard. It's like
I know.
maybe writing or directing, but I think maybe writing.
Nice. Okay.
I love it. I love it. You know, I gotta ask, right? Ghost Boyfriend. You gotta talk to me. You gotta talk to me a little bit about Ghost Boyfriend and what was the inspiration behind the Ghost Boyfriend.
Yeah, so Ghost Boyfriend is about two girls move into this apartment and then they discover their apartment's haunted. So they hire a medium to extract the ghost, only to discover the ghost is hot. So then one of them pursues a relationship with the ghost.
Yes.
Most stories are based on real life experiences, but I unfortunately haven't had a relationship with a ghost. But this story is just like a romantic comedy with some supernatural elements, and this character has a relationship with the ghost and the issues that happen with being a spirit as opposed to a human, and just having like similar through lines that just happen in any new relationship you get in, and merging your lives together. But it's definitely meant to be like a fun comedy piece. Yeah,
That's
nothing too
hilarious.
funny there.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. But how did it feel when you got, I'm not sure if you use Film Freeway, but how did it feel when you got the alert that it won Film of the Year? Like that's a big thing, top Film of the Year. How did that feel to get an accolade like that?
Definitely really amazing. Ghost Boyfriend was a labor of love, and I've had this idea for so long. I've written so many different ways, just rewritten it so many times over the years. And the production was challenging as any production is. But I got through, and I did it low budget, so just seeing it get made, finally getting it all together, and then it winning awards was just super rewarding, because it's like when you go from start to finish, it's like over a year, so it's not instant gratification. So when gratification comes a little bit later, it's definitely really rewarding, helps like keep putting gas in the tank to keep going and stuff like that, because millennials were a little bit more used to instant gratification if
Yeah.
help feed us. but yeah, so
So, I mean, you're so awarded with your films. The Attic. Let's fast forward to The Attic. What was, when people think of Attic, it's one thing that comes to mind. When you created Attic, what inspired you to do that?
I really wanted to tell a dramatic story,
Yeah.
and it was my experience dealing with a loved one with addiction.
Yeah.
So it was about addiction in this story. And then I was able to get Danielle Vega, who's on East Los High on Hulu, and Emilio Garcia Sanchez, who's on The Society on Netflix. And I was able to somehow get these guys on my project. So, and then I got a really amazing DP who's also a good friend. So it was just a way to collaborate and tell a dramatic story with no comedy. So it was definitely harder. But like, it's definitely harder doing drama because it's so serious on set.
Yeah.
Scenes are very dark, and like the actors are going to that dark place, as opposed to like a comedy set. Everything's lighter, people are laughing because it's a very things are just lighter in the air. That's just what happens on a dramatic set as opposed to a comedy set. So those are like the differences. So yeah.
So wow, and fast forward to now, you released your first big kind of production piece, right? Which is on Tubi. Shout out to Tubi.
Amazon.
Amazon, and Prime. Amazon
Prime.
And it's Tubi too, right?
Yeah.
And Tubi. So how does that feel? Because that's something you have to continue to do, right? And the pressure of creating.
Right, you can't go back.
Yeah, you can't go back. How does that feel? Like Tubi has become the talk of the town lately. Everyone is going to Tubi, right? So how does that feel? Like people can kind of see you and see everything that's going on.
It really feels so good. It feels just so good to get your work out there, because it takes so long, like I said, from start to finish. So when it finally gets out there into the public and you see people are watching it, it's really rewarding. You're like, yeah, that's just like what your dream is, just for people to watch it. and to reach a mass audience. And then somehow people find me on Instagram and they like message me about it from like random states or countries. So it's like really rewarding. You're like, oh, it's reaching like, I don't know how you heard about this, but it's really cool. So yeah, I enjoy it.
Fantastic. So what's next for Katrina Cebrero? Did I say that right? Cebrero?
Yes. Yeah.
There you go. So
Rollers are.
I know, right? So what can we expect next from you?
Yeah, so I'm currently working on the 5th episode for season 1 of Miscellanea.
Ah,
I want to work on that one. The next 2 episodes are coming out. I'm going to go in pre-production on one soon.
fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Yeah,
on everything.
congratulations on everything. You know, one thing we say is once you come to the show, you're a friend to the show, so you always can come back. So now that you've producing so much, you got to start, you know, reaching out to We Talk Weekly when you're doing your film junkets, you know, so we can come and, you know, talk to you and all your cast and all that good old stuff. And just follow your career because you definitely have a promising career. We had an opportunity to look at your site and some of the clips that's on there, and it's amazing. And you know, we salute you. And you know, one of the questions I didn't ask: do you see or feel any marginalization?
That was my question. Yep.
There you
Please
go.
hit it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted to know.
Yeah. Being not only a woman in film and production, but Hispanic woman in film and production. Do you feel, you know, or have experienced anything that you like? Wow, I feel, you know, someone pointing a finger at me, or I don't have the resources available to me. How do you
Certain
feel
doors
about
not
certain
opening.
doors not open? What's your take on that?
Yeah, definitely like doors don't open, I think, as quicker for us marginalized people, just because I think just like we see for many generations, like big, you know, people that make these decisions see a director as a certain way, and usually it's always been a white male, and that's who they see, and that's who they're going to trust, you know, because this is who, you know, if it just emulates something they've already had success in. So it is harder because that's what they see. They don't see a minority or even a woman as in this very important position with a lot of money on the line. You know, can they trust? You know, they don't see maybe that. So it is trickier. And you definitely like see doors open. But now that I think, you know, the awareness is there, it is becoming more diverse. There is more opportunities that there wasn't before. I don't know how any marginalized group or any woman got through in the past. Like they really had to fight tooth and nail. So they paved the way for us and allowed us to make it a little bit easier. And obviously, you know, give us more of an opportunity to get to that next level.
Yeah, fantastic. I like the way that you paying homage.
Yes.
That's a great thing. That's a great thing. Well, thanks for coming to We Talk Weekly. You know, one thing you gotta promise is not only to come back, but you know, when you trying to cast somebody and you need someone that looks like me, you just let me know. And you know, I get it. Yeah, there you go.
I have a beautiful 12-year-old
Yeah.
that wants to be an actress.
You know, everyone, when you know the producer, everyone like, yo, you know, I mean, you know, I got some acting chops, you know, that whole good old thing. And so I just like to welcome you to the show and thanks for coming out. How can they get in contact with you and find all of your movies and the content and look for your next, definitely Tubi. Shout out to Tubi, right? But how can they find your projects? How can they get in contact with you and all that good old stuff?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. I have a TV series. My TV series is on Instagram where I post clips. It's miscellanea.tv. And that's miscellaneas, miscellanea.tv. I know miscellaneous is like tricky. Yeah, and then miscellanea.tv is how you can learn more of where to watch the series. And then, yeah, just type in miscellanea on Tubi or Prime Video, as well as YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, and check it out.
Ah, fantastic. Real quick, what do your parents think about this? I mean, are they excited? Like, oh, my daughter, man. They sit down at the table. My daughter, she's this, she's that. How do they feel about doing? And your siblings, if you have any, you know.
Yeah, you know, I've gotten blessed. That's why I'm like, I think God blessed me with giving good parents. Like opportunities are harder to come by, but at least I have such a support system with my parents who are just really supportive. They're always cheering me on. And, you know, like chasing like a big dream, like I'm chasing,
Yeah.
you know, you can get down on yourself and just be like, maybe I need to just, the logical aspect as opposed to the dream aspect seems unattainable, but it is just as attainable, if not more so, because you're passionate and you can push yourself. But sometimes you just get down, and I'm just like, oh, mommy, daddy. They're
That's
really supportive, and they're the ones that, like, even when I have doubt, are like, no, you're talented, you're ambitious, you're gonna just keep going, you know. So
I
I
love
That's
that.
good.
all thanks
Yeah.
to them for
I
supporting me
I
with
love
that.
that. That's the affirmations.
Mhm.
That's fantastic. Why don't you why don't you pay it forward for a little girl like someone's like a Daryl daughter or someone who's watching this and a little girl, who's seeing what you're doing and want to do what would you say to encourage them or to support their vision or their goals to be someone like you, a successful producer, director?
I would say just go after your dreams and just know it's gonna take work and it's gonna take sacrifice, and it's just gonna hurt a little bit, but you get there if you just keep going. And then before you know, it's like one step at a time. Just the host reading all the accomplishments. It's hard to remember that until someone's like telling you that. I'm like, oh yeah, I did do that, or you did do that, because you're just trying to get to the next step. So that's all you're thinking about. So like even like going over your previous accomplishments is useful as well. So I would say just go after it and don't doubt it. The sooner you start, the sooner you get there.
And was going to college of benefit to your progress and where you are, or do you feel like college wouldn't have necessarily been necessary for you to get to where you are?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question because that's a big debate. It's like, oh, do you need film school? Do you not? And I would say because I went to film school, so I don't know another way, and I could see ways that not going to film school, just going straight to working on set. But I guess like you in school, you learn techniques, you learn like you're studying films in school, you're workshopping your scripts in front of people, as opposed to I think like if you were to start without school, it'd be kind of like you'd be maybe shy to workshop your script, or where do you start? Meeting people and trusting people, as opposed to like you have these professors, and these professors are all working in the industry. Currently, they just teach like part time, or they're off, a season and they're teaching. So you're learning from, and they become your mentors, which gives you like your first reference letter and helps you get in the. That's how I got like my first internship was like references, and it helps you like build like connections and also just make films. And no financial repercussion because you're just using like the film's equipment, and you have like already a crew and a cast because you're all trading positions. So it's like good practice, and I enjoy it. I like learning theories, like film theories, and learning about films too. But definitely hands-on experience is where you learn a lot, as well as learning in classroom. So I mean, I enjoyed it. I think it's really beneficial.
What would you tell your 16-year-old self?
Um, well, that's such a good question. I think I would tell this. I think I was shy about my dreams at that age, and didn't really like. I would go to school for film, but I wasn't like announcing it or like telling anybody my dreams. So I feel like at that age, I already knew what I wanted, and I would say like go after it sooner and like be bold about it and don't be shy about it. Because I feel like didn't stop being shy about it until a lot later in life. So.
So you kind of answered the second question was knowing what you know now. If you knew that then, what would you do?
Definitely start at 16.
Hmm.
Because in high school, I was like too scared to, reveal my big dream, or just like, go to school and not and worry about friends and not about chasing my dream. But then it's like the sooner you start this, the more you learn, because there's definitely like a learning curve, and you start getting better as you get going. So
Fantastic. Give you a round of applause. Great interview. And so I want everyone to go check out her work. Go check out all of that good stuff. I definitely got to see this ghost boyfriend. Cause that sounds interesting to me. The ghost boyfriend. But check out her work, and like I said, once you come to the show, you're a friend to the show, and Leslie Logan has been working hard, diligently, making sure that you got on this, and that we supported you. We love her to death. She a friend to the show, and so we'll support everything that she's doing. So you continue to do what you do. A friend of hers is a friend of ours, and anytime you want to come back, just let us know and we'll bring you on, especially when you got that next project coming on, because I want to talk a little bit and I got to get that on my playlist to watch all of the stuff that you're doing. And so we really thank you for coming to the show, and you stay in touch.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate all you guys.
No problem at all. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We Talk Weeklies After the Talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies After the Talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Lady Esther.
and my guy
Daryl Smith Jr.
and the beautiful.
Oh, Katrina.
They always get stuck.
I know they always get stuck right there. What they have? Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back, y'all.
What's going on, you guys? This is Bridget Kelly, and you are locked into We Talk Weekly.
And we're back. Dynamic interviews. Your boy Charles Gregory in the building, man. Well, one thing I could say is I learned a lot.
We did learn a lot today.
And definitely learned a lot. I gotta make sure I keep that voice down. I got learned a lot. Speak from the diaphragm.
Use that voice on my days off. That's all
You'll
I'm
never find. You know what I mean, that's
Dum,
funny.
dum, dum.
But yeah. So yeah, we definitely in the building. So D, holla at me, man. How we going to end the show? Is there anything pressing? What's going on?
Let's talk about the state of Philadelphia.
Oh man.
Yeah, because
We don't
why
have-
not?
we don't have- we don't have-
I doubt
Yeah.
we can talk. Because
We only got 8 minutes.
we got 8 minutes.
I know.
So
We talk about Philadelphia in
try
8
to
minutes.
keep it concise with Philadelphia.
Oh,
We're
man.
losing
Yeah.
our commissioner this week, next week. It's very, very soon. We got mayoral elections. We got
Yeah.
city council. We got judges. We got state reps. We got a lot going on. So in
And what's
Philadelphia,
happening with the police commissioner?
oh, Danielle Outlaw,
She
she's
quit.
going to
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
like the Port Authority.
Yeah,
New
New
York,
York.
New Jersey.
Yeah, New York.
I think.
Yeah.
Y'all done ran her out of here.
No. The funny thing is, everybody was fighting to keep her, and she quit on everybody.
It's interesting.
Come on.
Because it's interesting how at some points it seemed like she had no support, but
Right.
more recently, from my perspective, it seemed like she was garnering a lot
lot
of
of support.
support. And so the timing just seems kind of strange. But when you listen to her interview about her decision, it seems like she's always kind of had this plan.
Yep.
She actually has a
I was
degree
about
in
to say that.
business. And so it was like this was a stepping stone for her. And so I'm not mad at that. But at the same time, you know, you were the first black woman in that position.
Yeah.
I would have liked to kind of see a kind of groundswell of a cultural shift or some different things happening that we didn't get to see. But
I mean, but how long was she there?
3 years? I think it was 3 years.
I think 3.
I think it's 3 years.
Think 3.
Because I mean, 3
It's 3
years.
years.
Well, this reminded me because even with like the presidents, 4 years and 4 years, right? So it's like when they get to the end, because like I said, everybody need to see what you're gonna do first before they. It's Philly.
glad
You know how
for you.
Philly is.
Yeah.
We ain't supporting you till we see.
Yeah.
see
So
what you
the
doing.
question is, what did she do?
I would say she did go against the FOP a number of times, and I would give her credit for that. I would say she was accessible in ways that others may not have been in
She
the
was.
past,
I can say that.
and I'll give her that.
When? I missed that.
I don't know that she was doing the type of interviews, but I mean, I saw her in places.
Yeah, I saw
that-
her. I saw her a lot
where-
in places where you
wouldn't necessarily see her.
I seen her on my
Others
block
have to
twice.
say.
It's
I
like,
know- and that's crazy because I've never seen her. I seen her out a couple times. I never seen her like I seen everybody else.
Okay.
Which is why I was very hard on her. I said, "Where you at? I don't see you." So it could have been the places that I was at. So if that was the case and y'all seen her, then I could see that. Yeah.
And then we got I don't know that. Does anybody actually know the truth about how many guns were stolen
Oh, my
or
goodness.
misplaced from the sheriff's
You
office?
gonna get that?
they're not going to admit it.
That's a mess. But it also plays to something we've talked about in previous weeks, where these guns that are in the streets of Philadelphia, from my perspective, the vast majority do not come from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
When I see the gun shops getting robbed, they are not in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
When I hear about police losing or sheriffs losing guns, that has nothing to do with us as civilians.
Yeah.
So it's like these guns, I don't know that we have any gun manufacturers in Philadelphia or bullet manufacturers in Philadelphia or poppy fields in Philadelphia or any of the things that destroy our city. I don't know that any of them actually come from here. So I'm wondering what steps should be taken. And from my perspective, our sheriff, this is another blow to her. And frankly, I don't know if I'm going to vote for her again because if you look back, there's a whole money situation that we don't got to get into with the time we have, but there's a whole money situation about putting money in certain people's pockets in that office, and now we have this situation. So I'm kind of, I support black people and I support women, but I support people in line with me more than I support anything else.
There you go.
So
Absolutely.
It's a fair question. Where's the money? They say follow the numbers, right? They say follow the money.
where the money,
Yeah.
where the guns.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I thought when I saw all of these guns. I'm like, all the gun violence that we have in the city. And I'm watching the news. I'm like, wait, so it's coming from y'all? That's what was the first thing that popped in my head. So it's coming from y'all. So the guns on the street are coming. So y'all collect them and put them back out.
Yeah.
Is this by
It's
accident?
not the first time we heard
not
about
the first
guns
time.
being misplaced, lost, said to be destroyed, but actually not destroyed.
Yeah, and I think the burning question is where are the guns coming from, right? And who do we point the finger at? Or
Because
who
these
do
are
we
not
blame?
all ghost guns.
Yeah.
Like this
No,
whole,
they're not.
all these bills
That's
for
what they
ghost
saying.
guns.
That's the narrative.
That's I
There.
get
Most
it.
of them
But
ghost guns.
most of these guns are not ghost guns. These are guns stolen from a store or bought legally, straw purchased. These are guns that came from a place, not put together in somebody's house through a ghost gun kit.
Yeah.
But how do they get back on the streets after they've supposed to been taken by police?
That's the burning question. So we need
whoever
to
is working
start
inside
asking
there,
those
right?
questions. Yeah. So we have to go, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to thank everyone who tuned in tonight. We had a lot of people who was tuning in tonight, and so I just want to appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you want our Twitch, make sure you like, subscribe. If you want our YouTube, like and subscribe. If you want our Facebook been popping. So I appreciate that. Like and subscribe, all that good old stuff, and tell a friend and tell a friend. I'm your boy Charles Gregory with the beautiful
Lady S. Dot.
and my guy.
Daryl Smith Jr.
And we talk weeklies after the talk on WPP MLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk, and we'll see you on the other side.
So